Hi, this is Marty with Skincare Science, and welcome back for another video. So in this video, keeping in touch with making these videos a lot smaller, more condensed, a lot easier to watch, and less of me talking. So in this video, basically what happened is I was on YouTube, and YouTube's everything for information, right? I saw a video that discussed hyaluronic acid and the different molecular sizes as it relates to the skin and the individual. I'll put the link to the video below so that you can watch it and get an idea of what I'm talking about. All right. Okay, the girl who does it is smart. Okay, she's an esthetician, has her own practice, smart, and no reason to think that she's not successful and doesn't know what she's talking about. But there are a couple things that she says in this particular video that, well, it's just wrong. Okay, so let me get right to it. All right. The standard epidermis, dermis, so the dermal layer, epidermis, and the stratum corneum. So basically what she says is the basic use of hyaluronic acid is one molecule, hyaluronic acid, will be able to absorb and contain 1,000 times its weight in water. That is pretty much the standard in the skincare industry statement. Whether it's 100% factual, that's not debate, so we'll just go with it and assume that it is. All right, and the interesting thing is that she talks about hyaluronic acid being produced in different molecular sizes. She also discusses things as it relates to hyaluronic acid and what it can do, what it cannot do, what it should be used for, and based on the different molecular sizes of the hyaluronic acid, how you should use it. All right, you can't do that. The reason why you can't do that and say that is because the use of hyaluronic acid is not FDA approved. If it was, and what I mean by that is if it was, meaning it would be owned by a massive pharmaceutical company, and it would be like vitamin A, retinol, to where you can only get it in a prescription. Okay, so you have to be careful when you're talking about skincare, the gray area, because the FDA basically allows the skincare industry to police itself, which is really wonderful because it allows everyone to do what we do. Okay, so when I say not FDA approved, I mean it has not passed the clinical trials of a normal FDA approved ingredient or product. So how do we know hyaluronic acid works? We know hyaluronic acid works because it's been in skincare for a very, very long time. And through the clinical trials of its use, you see, that's one big, massive clinical trial. And through the years, it shows its efficacy and its ability to actually do what everyone seems to be claiming that it can do. All right, so back to this individual. Basically what she says is that hyaluronic acid, here we'll change to, wrote on myself there. We'll change to pink. Okay, so hyaluronic acid can be sold in different sizes. Okay, hopefully I wrote that low enough. All right. So she goes on to say that, well, this is awesome because depending on the hyaluronic acid you want, you can drop that there. It's going to bring water from the atmosphere and pull it into the skin. And then going to the smaller one, this dot, well, it's going to be able to penetrate and do its job there. So basically what she's saying that depending on the size of the hyaluronic acid molecule will determine its depth of penetration. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Allow me to explain. What we're going to do is talk about the epidermis for a second. The epidermis has a basic sole responsibility, and that is to develop the stratum corneum. Yes, it has other functions, but that's its main one. What is it that happens when you go from the basement layer And that cell, depending on the layer in the epidermis, because it will gain its name from that layer as it moves up and goes through to become a cornified, dead, not really dead, but member of the stratum corneum, it's going to basically rise up. And what is it going to do? It's going to become completely dehydrated. Okay, so if nature wants a completely non-nucleated cell dehydrated as a means of protection or a means of protecting us from the outside environment, why on God's green earth would I care or even discuss or even desire to put hyaluronic acid at, I don't even get it, at that molecular size so that it can't penetrate, so that it can stay on the top of my skin and suck the moisture out of the air to create moisture for my skin. Come on, it is. If the skin wanted the stratum corneum to be hydrated, it would be hydrated. The majority of hydration and moisture within our skin is within the dermal and the epidermal layers, not including the stratum corneum. As you go from the basement layer, the connecting zone between the epidermis and the dermis, the epidermal cell, as it rises to become a stratum corneum cell, a corneocyte, with a C, right? Corneocyte, stratum corneum. It's void of water. The thing is increased in size so that it can cover more area. It's thinner, flatter. Okay, so it starts off like this, right? And here we are, like this. And when it's done, it's like that, and dehydrated. The only thing about the stratum corneum and the two layers that I discussed in a previous video, as it relates to this area, is there enough water in the intercellular space to create the enzymatic function, enzyme, eating the desmosomes, allowing the corneocytes to naturally exfoliate, separate and exfoliate. It has nothing to do with this. It doesn't. It's I mean, prove me wrong. I mean, I welcome it. I would love it if someone said, Marty, here's a comment for you. You are 100% wrong. And here's a link to medical science directly relating to what you're saying and saying you're 100% wrong. I would love it. I would. And the reason why is so that I could become better. I don't mind being wrong. What I mind is having to constantly field these questions from customers and skincare professionals, because they too go on YouTube or they go on Reddit or wherever they get their information from. Another skincare line, I don't know. Anyway, when you use hyaluronic acid, know that in most skincare lines, it's at a molecular size and structure so that it can penetrate the skin through whatever means possible, okay, to be able to do its job. That's it. It's a very brief and broad overview of the skin as it relates to the molecular size of hyaluronic acid, why it makes no sense to me with regards to a larger molecular size so that it can sit on top of the stratum corneum, not absorb into the skin. And even that statement right there is debatable, right? It truly is. Even that's like something that I could do another video on and debate whether or not the size is correct, whether it can't, whether it does, and it just says it can, and the molecular size and blah, blah, blah. It's just whatever. Okay. This is Marty with Skincare Science. I hope you like the briefer videos. These are becoming a lot easier for me to do. I hope to do them all the time. And thanks for visiting, and we'll see you in the next video. Oh, and before I go, call bullshit, because if you do, I hope that this information makes you better, makes you wiser, brings on more questions as far as my customers asking me, and helping them make a choice whether my skincare line and what I do is right for them. Yeah, that's it. All right, so again, Marty with Skincare Science, and we'll see you in the next video. Oh dear.